this one. It says Daniel chapter 8. Sorry. Well, let me just begin by reading the first part of the events that led up to this. In the 3rd year of the reign of Belshazzar the king, a vision appeared to me, Daniel, subsequent to the one which appeared to me previously. And so this is, the last vision was in the 1st year of Belshazzar. Now this is 2 years later, in the 3rd year of the reign of Belshazzar the king. Another vision appeared to me, Daniel, subsequent to the one which appeared to me previously. And I looked in the vision, and it came about while I was looking that I was in the citadel of Susa, which is in the province of Elam. And I looked in the vision, and I myself was beside the Ulai Canal. And we've learned already today from Brother Steve that Susa is the place that Daniel's tomb is located. But in the citadel of Susa, in the province of Elam, and I myself was beside the Ulai Canal, which is one of the canals leading to the Euphrates River, correct? Then I lifted my gaze and looked, and behold, a ram which had 2 horns was standing in front of the canal. Now the 2 horns were long, but one was longer than the other, with the longer one coming up last. And so this ram had 2 horns, one was longer. And I'm going to suggest to you that this represents the Medes and the Persians. And the Persian part of the empire was stronger than the Median part of the empire. And some scholars say that's the reason why the one horn came up a little bit longer than the other. They were both long, but one was longer than the other. I saw the ram butting westward, northward, and southward, and no other beast could stand before him, nor was there anyone to rescue from his power, but he did as he pleased and magnified himself. So this was a strong, strong ram, butting in every direction, westward, northward, and southward. Not eastward, but it would have been coming from the east toward the west. And conquering much territory. The Persians conquered much of the Middle East and were kind of pushing towards Greece, pushing toward Europe. And then in verse 5, while I was observing, behold, a male goat was coming from the west over the surface of the whole earth without touching the ground. I mean, this goat was flying. Do you ever see these leopards and these animals on the Animal Planet? They're running so fast they're actually leaping through the air. Well, that's what this was. This shaggy goat was leaping through the air. His feet weren't even touching the ground. So we're talking about a swift conquering the surface of the whole earth without touching the ground, and the goat had a conspicuous horn between his eyes. And we had talked about previously about the leopard in chapter 7, and what is a leopard known for? Swiftness. So I'm going to suggest that this is speaking of Alexander the Great. And he came up to the ram, verse 6, that had the 2 horns, which I had seen standing in front of the canal, and rushed at him in his mighty wrath. 7, and I saw him come beside the ram, and he was enraged at him, and he struck the ram and shattered his 2 horns, and the ram had no strength to withstand him. So he hurled him to the ground and trampled on him, and there was no one to rescue the ram from his power. So this shaggy goat comes flying from the west toward the east, and bam, they butt heads, and the ram is conquered, thrown to the ground, and trampled down. Then the male goat magnified himself exceedingly. But as soon as he was mighty, the large horn, the single horn that was between his eyes, the large horn was broken, and in its place there came up 4 conspicuous horns toward the 4 winds of heaven. Did you ever see an animal that has a broken horn? Sometimes another one will come up after it's broken, a little gnarled one. Any farmers here? Happen oftentimes with cattle. But here, this one horn was broken, and in its place 4 came up afterwards. Toward the 4 winds of heaven. So they weren't going out straight. There's one kind of going, and they were kind of pointing in 4 different directions. Verse 9. And out of one of them came forth a rather small horn, which grew exceedingly great toward the south, toward the east, and toward the beautiful land. It grew up to the host of heaven and caused some of the hosts and some of the stars to fall to the earth, and it trampled them down. It even magnified itself to be equal to the commander of the host, and it removed the regular sacrifice from him, and the place of his sanctuary was thrown down. And on account of transgression, the host will be given over to the horn, along with the regular sacrifice, and it will fling truth to the ground and perform its will and prosper. Then I heard a holy one speaking, and another holy one said to that particular one who was speaking, how long will the vision about the regular sacrifice apply, while the transgression causes horror, so as to allow both the holy place and the host to be trampled? And he said to me, for 2,300 evenings and mornings, then the holy place will be properly restored. And it came about, when I, Daniel, had seen the vision, that I sought to understand it. And behold, standing before me was one who looked like a man. And I heard the voice of a man between the banks of the Ulai. And he called out and said, Gabriel, give this man an understanding of the vision. So Gabriel is here to give us understanding of what the vision that we just read is all about. So he came near to where I was standing, and when he came, I was frightened and fell on my face. But he said to me, Son of man, understand that the vision pertains to the time of the end. So whatever this vision is about, it's about the time of the end. Now while he was talking with me, I sank into a deep sleep with my face to the ground. And he touched me and made me stand upright. And he said, behold, I am going to let you know what will occur at the final period of the indignation, for it pertains to the appointed time of the end. And if we just happen to couple this to the verse, in the end of verse 28, where it says it pertains to many days in the future. How many of you believe this is really an end-time vision? 3 times. I've got that underlined in my Bible. This is an end-time vision. Amen? Amen? Well, let's see what it's all about. Now, while he was talking with me, I sank into a deep sleep. Okay, we read that. The appointed time of the end. Verse 20. The ram which you saw with the 2 horns represents the kings of Media and Persia. So that is defined. I wasn't making that up. Gabriel actually told me ahead of time what to tell you.
You cheated.
Pardon?
So you cheated.
And the shaggy goat, this male goat, represents the kingdom of Greece. And the large horn that is between his eyes is the first king. And I read in the history book that the first king of Greece was Alexander the Great. Everybody with me? Mm-hmm. All right. And the broken horn and the 4 horns that arose in its place represent 4 kingdoms which will arise from his nation, although not with his power. And in the latter period, I've got that latter period underlined in my Bible, in the latter period of their rule, this geographical area, in the latter period of their rule, when transgressors have run their course,
come to full in some translations.
Kind of reminds me of the phrase, iniquity shall abound, when transgressors have filled the cup.
Yeah.
In the latter period of the rule, when transgressors have run their course, a king will arise, insolent and skilled in intrigue. A mysterious guy. Intrigue. Anybody have another...
Understanding dark sentences. You know.
Yeah.
Ambiguous speech.
Sinister scheme.
Sinister schemes, that's it. But he was skilled in intrigue and mysterious, crafty, dark sayings. And his power will be mighty, but not by his own power. So it's going to be Satan's power. He will destroy to an extraordinary degree and prosper and perform his will. He will destroy mighty men and the holy people. So it looks like there's some persecution going on here. And through his shrewdness, he will cause deceit to succeed by his influence. Deception. And he will magnify himself in his heart. And he will destroy many while they are at ease. I like the NASB translation of this. He will destroy many while they are at ease. What does yours say?
In their prosperity.
And mine says, and by peace he will destroy many. Because it's this peace lie.
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought of that verse, woe to them that are at ease in Zion. Woe to them that are not diligent and
Peace.
watching.
Peace.
Like the land of unwalled cities.
Yes. Yes.
It says, when they shall say peace and safety. So he's actually, through this intrigue, he's brought about a peace that is a seductive, that
Yes.
disarms. And it's the beginning of their destruction.
When they feel secure, that's a good one.
Yeah, that is.
We read about that in Ezekiel 38.
Same word used in 11:24.
Yeah, at a time of security.
Yes.
Yeah, in the ASV. Or tranquility, yeah.
So he will destroy many while they feel tranquil or secure, when they're living at ease.
That's what you see just before the Gog-Magog invasion, Ezekiel 39, and I mean 38, not 9. It says they're dwelling securely, all of them without walls or gates.
Yeah, Jesse.
We're about to come, and yet he will be destroyed, but not by human power.
Yes.
And this is where I may have misunderstood earlier, but when we were talking about nuclear explosion at the very last time, that's why I don't think it's going to be nuclear because of that part there.
Well, his destruction isn't nuclear. It says he hears that they're coming, and he goes forth with great fury. In other words, he's unleashing hell, to quote Gladiator. In other words, he's letting a nuclear exchange has just begun, but it's nothing but the breath of the Lord that destroys this man. You know, Paul said that very clearly. This man is destroyed only by the brightness of the Lord's return.
The spirit of his mouth and the brightness of his coming.
He's alive and well till Jesus shows up.
But let's back up a little bit and finish verse 26. He will even oppose the prince of princes. Now that's a mistake. And he will be broken without human agency. I like the King James, without hand. Which links us back to chapter 2, that a stone was cut out of the mountains without hand. The stone that hit the statue without hand. It's God that is doing the destroying.
God.
He will be broken, crushed without hand.